If you're an Elementor Pro user, then there is a good chance that you don't need the one-click accessibility tool for a number of reasons. The last reason might be a deal breaker. So let's take a look. If you don't know the plugin I'm talking about, here it is in the WordPress repository called the One-Click Accessibility by Elementor. So once you have it installed, you can go ahead and check the settings. It will be on the right side of your dashboard called Accessibility. Now let's go to the settings and we'll look at the first reason why I don't recommend it, and that is that a lot of the features are either deprecated or not needed. Let's take a look. The first feature says add landmark roles to all links. That means it adds the role equal to link to all links. And we can see that on the front end. When we inspect any of the links, it adds on the A tag a role equal to link. Usually, when an element already has an intrinsic role, you're not supposed to now declare that role again on that element. It's not actually recommended. And if you even go to the W3C guideline, you see that the role equal to link is only allowed on the span tag and the image tag. You shouldn't use it on any other tag. And in fact, you shouldn't even use it because we have the A tag. Once you have the A tag, you don't need the role equal to link anymore. So that's the first one. So this should be disabled. Don't enable this. It's not necessary. Then the second feature says remove target attribute from links. What this means is that it will prevent your links from opening in a new tab. So all links on your page will open in the same window. This is actually a good advice. So this is a nice property, but I will expect that you as the user already does this yourself. So you don't really need a plugin to do this for you. But yeah, I think this is a good feature. The next feature we'll take a look at says add focus outline. Generally, if you have the Hello theme and you're working with Elementor, then this feature is not needed. It should already be incorporated in your website, which we test now. So this is a page that doesn't have the one-click accessibility. And if I tab through with my keyboard, you can see there's a focus outline on the links already. So every link already has the focus outline. I didn't need to do any special effects, but this is what it allows you to do. This is the page that has the one-click accessibility, and all it does is that it adds that focus outline in a different color. So the color that we set up with the focus outline, I think you can change the color under customize. And yeah, that's where you get to change your colors. So underneath here, you can see the focus outline color. You can change the color here. But yeah, that's it. So like I said, this is not really needed because that should come by default with your browser unless you go ahead to remove the focus outline with some of those CSS that a lot of people use where they say focus outline equal to none or something like that. The next feature we'll take a look at quickly is the skip links. So it can allow you to add skip links to your page, but basically it does exactly the same thing as your Hello theme, and it even has the same drawbacks as the Hello theme, which I'll leave a link to in the description for a video where I showed some of the problems that happens with the skip links and the Elementor theme builder and how you can fix them. So let's go ahead and take a look and see that it becomes pointless having this plugin because it doesn't actually solve any of the problems that came with the Hello theme. So let's take a look. So here we have the option to enable the skip to content link, and we can choose the ID to target, which in this case is content. That is the target element that we're trying to skip to. Ideally, it should be the main tag that has the ID equal to content. So now let's test it out on the front end. So I'll come to the page and I'll start from the search bar and start tabbing through. So I'll tab 1, 2, 3, 4, and we get the skip to content. So this is the one created by the one-click accessibility plugin. And that's when I press the enter key, it takes me into the page and skips all of the navigation. So when I press the tab key again, I can now go into the link that is on the page. So you see, everything works. But if you have the hello theme, you already have this skip to content. You don't need the second one, because right now what's happening is that we are creating two skip to contents. So you see the first skip to content link. If I press the tab key, it takes me to the toolbar, which we will talk about later. And if I press the tab key again, it takes me to the second skip to content. This is the one from the hello theme, and that does the same job. And talking about the drawbacks, watch what happens when I now create a single post template. So here we have the single post template. Let me go ahead and even make sure it is set to the main tag. So I change the HTML tag to main, and I publish, and we try to preview on the front end. Watch what happens. I press the Ctrl L to go to the search, tab, 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 tab. I've got into my skip to content link, but when I press the enter key, nothing happens. Why? Because the moment you use the Elementor theme builder, it strips out that ID equal to content. So nothing has the ID equal to content on the page anymore, which let me prove to you. If I come to the first page, right click, inspect, and we go all the way to the top, you'd see we have the main ID equal to content. This is because we are using the Elementor on a page. The moment we create a single post template and we try to inspect it again, we see we get our main, but there's no longer any ID. All we have is data attributes and classes, but there are no more IDs. So that's the problem with the Elementor theme builder, and this plugin does not fix that problem. You still have to fix it manually, which, like I said, I will leave a link to the video where I show how to do it in the description. That just goes to show that the skip to content feature in the one-click accessibility plugin is not needed if you have an accessibility ready theme like the hello theme. The last feature we'll take a look at before I tell you about my deal breaker issue is the site-wide accessibility, which is basically the toolbar that pops up on the front end. So this toolbar that lots of people just associate with accessibility. A lot of people feel that once they have the floating icon for the accessibility toolbar on their page, then their sites are automatically accessible. But I'm here to say that, unfortunately, there is no magic bullet to make your site accessible. You have to put in the manual effort, and those features that are provided by those toolbars, most of them are already provided by either your operating system or your browser. Now, let's go ahead and even take a look at the toolbar, and I'll show you how it has some discrepancies in the way it works. Now, let's take a look. From the WordPress dashboard, if you head over to accessibility and then toolbar, you get the option to change some of the settings, like the title. You can decide, do you want it to show on all devices or only on desktop, only on tablet, only on the phone, and so on. You can choose the position. You can choose what text shows up when you want to increase the text. You want to decrease the text. Let me go ahead and show you. If I come over and I click on it, you can see the writings here, the increase text, decrease text. You can change all of these features. And this is where it looks nice. And let's go ahead and show you how it works with the keyboard. So if I start from the search, tab, 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 tab. After the skip to content link, I should get access to the toolbar. But no, I'm not. So this is where the discrepancies start to come up, that depending on the situation, because of how they have set it up using JavaScript, sometimes you get access to it, sometimes you don't. Same thing as a screen reader user. Sometimes you can get access to the toolbar. In some situations, you don't. So it is very poor because they are using, if I inspect it, you get to see that for the toolbar, they are using the tab index of -1. So basically, it can only be accessed using JavaScript. And as we know with JavaScript, things don't work out the way you expect them to work out sometimes. And when I turn on my screen reader, I'm not going to do it now. you'll be able to access the hidden links even while they are hidden, which is just not nice. Like, if the toolbar is hidden, similar to how you have with your off-canvas menu, then they should be hidden from both screen reader users and keyboard users. If it is visible, then it should be visible for both screen reader users and keyboard users. But the way it works out for now is quite buggy. And the second problem, which I noticed, which you may not notice, is that the moment I choose the grayscale, just watch what happens to this, my floating icon. When I choose grayscale, the icon disappears because I believe Elementor does some kind of fixed positioning or something. Even the top toolbar breaks, the icon gets thrown to the bottom of the page, and so on. So many things break the moment I choose grayscale. But when I choose any other one, they seem to work well. In fact, this just hid everything. Now I'm not sure. So you see how it works? That some of these things, they just ruin the experience of your website depending on how your website was built. So that's why these toolbars, they tend to, more often than not, they tend to do more harm than good. And I don't know, that is just my thoughts. I don't know about your thoughts. What do you think about these accessibility overlay toolbars? Because one thing I've noticed that in some cases they work well, depending on how your site was built. In other cases, they break your site, especially on mobile. If you attempt to do the grayscale on mobile, you see that you always get overflow on your page, or at least some people get overflow on their pages because of this position fixed or whatever they are doing, which I'm not sure about. But yeah, that's it for the toolbar. And now time for the deal breaker. This was pointed out to me by a friend of mine, which I'm going to show you right now. And you see why I wouldn't support this plugin, at least for now. Let's take a look. Here we are on the plugin page in the official WordPress repository. And if you go all the way down into the support forum, here's what you'll notice. These are a list of topics that dates back. Let's go to 12. So dates back to 8 years ago. And you see the replies 0. There was never a reply to anybody's request. And whenever you see a reply, it's just somebody trying to ask if there was ever any feedback. So literally, the plugin developers, they don't really care about the plugin. They don't offer any form of support for the plugin. When a plugin developer has no form of support for the plugin, then I get worried about the plugin. I don't see the validity. So I said, okay, maybe it's just only on the WordPress repository. Maybe from their GitHub, there will be some responses. And you see, if you go under issues, you can see issues dating back to so many years ago. And all of them as well, there has been no response to anybody. Fixed position, you go down, it's only people laying complaints. There is no solution from any of the plugin developers. So if the plugin developers don't care to provide support, that means the plugin is not to be trusted, in my opinion. Although I know they've updated the plugin just recently. As of the time of this video, the plugin has been updated 2 months ago. But with that being said, there has been zero support from the developers. So if there is no support, I cannot trust that plugin. I don't know about you. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about the plugin? Personally, just the last one is a deal breaker and make me not want to use the plugin. But I don't know. What do you think? I do know that Elementor are coming up with a new version of their accessibility toolbar, which I'm hoping the way they will implement it is not that floating button. I don't want to see those floating buttons. I'm tired of seeing floating buttons. I wish they can incorporate it into the page, like maybe in the header, and I can choose, do I want to increase font size? Do I want to decrease font size? That can still be manageable, even though I don't still see the need, because, like I said, all of these settings are in your browser. If you're on a Windows computer, simply go to your system settings, go under accessibility, and you will see what they call color filters. With the color filters, you can put in any kind of color filter you want on your entire screen. So you can put grayscale, you can put the negative, you can do whatever you want. So you don't really need a plugin to make your screen to be grayscale or sepia tone or inverted or anything. You can do that right from the browser. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please do leave a thumbs up. Please write in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, because this is just my opinion. I would like to know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.